Hey everybody, welcome back to the Hard4Games channel. I'm your host, Tony, and very soon we are going to be getting a new Zelda beta recreation mod. I covered the reveal trailer a little while back. It is the Ocarina of Time Space World 97 beta experience. And for those of you that are unaware, it basically takes all the data dumps we've gotten, the Giga Leak, the 97 overdump, and combines them into a playable experience. It's going to be big and it's going to be a ton of fun. So in celebration of this, I thought it would be a good idea to kind of remember and recount my various Zelda 64 mods that I've played throughout the years and give you my top 5. Now, there are a ton of Ocarina of Time mods that I've played. I can't include them all here, and I'm sure there are some that you guys have played that I have not played, which of course means I'm not going to include them here. That said, feel free to let me know what mods would be on your list in the comments below. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Number 5. Aeroblast's Project Beta Triforce. This was about 6 years ago now, quite a bit ago, but it was a series of demos that were released in a project that was essentially meant to recreate the lost dungeons/temples in Zelda 64. Now keep in mind that this was pre-Giga Leak, pre the Zelda 97 Space World overdump. So information was different back then. What you're looking at now is the Deep Wood Shrine, which of course is a temple that never actually existed. But you can see here on screen there are some screenshots from various gaming magazines, and you can see these man-made windows in the background, and people assumed at the time that this must be a temple that's different from the Forest Temple and different from the Great Deku Tree, which of course it was not. We know now that these screenshots were taken in the Great Deku Tree itself. However, Aeroblast did an excellent job reimagining what could have been a Deep Wood Shrine, another forest/wooden temple within Ocarina of Time. You also have to keep in mind that at the time that this was created, there were a number of other fallen beta and Ura Zelda projects. This was one of the first to actually produce some playable content. Here we have the Temple of Light, another theorized dungeon/temple in the game. The whole idea being that, the Temple of Time was reduced down to just sort of a shorter segment in the game, and that originally there was supposed to be a full-on dungeon when Link pulled the Master Sword, which of course is probably not true and mostly based on a hoax. But that said, he still did a great job reimagining what a Temple of Light could have looked like. Number 4, we have MelonSpeedruns, The Legend of Peach. Imagine if Ocarina of Time and Mario 64 had a love child. That would be this mod. Now your base here is Ocarina of Time's ROM. So all of the mechanics, well, they're gonna be Zelda mechanics, but everything aesthetically is Mario 64. But translated slightly to look more like the coloring of Zelda. I mean, this looks like Hyrule, but it also looks like Bomb Battlefield. So it's a weird hybrid that's just so cool and so neat to play. Now this next mod has a very special place in my heart. It is Zelda Dawn and Dusk. It was created by Captain CDI and then ported to the N64 disk drive by LuigiBlood. So all the footage you see here isn't via emulator, it's actually on a real Nintendo 64 with a development disk drive attached and then captured via RGB out. So, aside from just being a great game, for me it was very special because I finally got to play a sort of Ura Zelda. Basically having Ocarina of Time plugged into the cartridge port and playing an expansion via the disk drive. This mod focuses on two distinct worlds, the Dusk side and the Dawn side, each of which have their own aesthetic. The Dawn side is very lush, the Dusk side is very desolate, and that is where the ultimate evil, the end boss, lies. This is a couple hour playthrough, not particularly long, but definitely worth experiencing. Even if you're not playing on real hardware like I was, play it on emulator, it's great. Number 2, here we have Dark Hyrule Fantasy by Igor. I love this mod because it takes a very dark and gothic spin to Ocarina of Time, and in reality it really has nothing to do with Zelda. The story is completely unrelated. It feels more like a 3D Castlevania that just happens to utilize Zelda's mechanics. This mod will give you a couple hours of gameplay. It is meant to be a demo for the Dark Hyrule Fantasy project, but those hours are definitely worth playing. The dungeon is solid, the puzzles are good, and the aesthetic is just so incredibly killer and different than what we're used to in Zelda. Now, before we go to our number 1, I want to give an honorable mention to StarFox Survival. And despite the title, it is not truly a StarFox game. It is Ocarina of Time, but where you play as Fox McCloud. The story is Fox crash lands on this very hostile planet, and he has to survive 30 nights of fighting wave after wave of enemies. There is very little health, very little equipment, very little money. Sometimes you do get items for clearing the stage in these little treasure chests, but they are random. Sometimes they are disposable goods, other times it's useful equipment. Every playthrough is going to be a little bit different. Now, Ocarina of Time doesn't have the most advanced mechanics when it comes to fighting, but this mod forces you to utilize them to their fullest, which is what I appreciate about it. Number 1, we have The Legend of Zelda: The Missing Link. This is an absolutely incredible mod. The story takes place between Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, hence it being the missing link of story we never got. Link is out looking for Navi, and it is a completely new adventure. All new areas, many new assets were created. You have a good number of hours in terms of the playthrough, and it really fills in a lot of the story and lore between the two titles. You also get a blade beam attack, which is pretty badass. So that is my top 5 favorite Zelda 64 mods. I hope you all enjoyed, and of course, feel free to let me know which 5 you would have included in the comments below. Other than that, if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and we'll see you all next time.